Hello, Blunt Truth with another knife review, finally. This time the star of the show is the Fallkniven F1. Fallkniven calls it the pilot survival knife, and it is issued to their pilots, and you can find out all the background information in other reviews. I'm not going to go over all of that. It's made in Japan, designed in Sweden, made very well. It's very easy to see. It's made very well. Fallkniven wouldn't put out anything that isn't made well. And my version has the VG10 core. They also have they call it 3G laminate, and 3G isn't a steel. In the 3G version, the core is super gold powder steel. It's the same thing the U2 has, a super gold powder steel center. And I believe that might be a little too brittle for hard use out in the woods, chopping and batoning through hardwood. I'd be afraid it would chip or break even though it's laminated. So I didn't go with that. I went with the VG10, and as it is, when I'm batoning, cross-cutting in hardwood or chopping with this, even though it really isn't a chopper and it really sucks at chopping, obviously it's, not heavy or long enough for chopping, so if you're going to do a lot of chopping, you need something like the Bravo 1 or bigger. But it can do it in limited use. You can chop, but it'll pick up little tiny microchips on the edge when you do that, if you chop through some hardwood or baton cross-cutting. And they can be sharpened out pretty easy, but it does get them, and A2 doesn't get it. And 1095s tend not to get it as easy. They can also get chips, and actually they're not microchips. They chip a little bigger when they chip. But and the 420 J2 outer layers does scratch fairly easy. It gets scratched up on you. But I don't care about that. It's my knives aren't for decoration, they're for use, so I don't care if they're scratched a little. The handle looks like the rubbery cold steel type stuff, but this they call it thermo run, but it's really more like a plastic. It's very, very hard. It's not quite plastic. It does have a little bit of give to it, a little bit of rubberiness, but you can dent it with your fingernail, but can you see that dent I just put in it? See, it'll dent with just pushing your fingernail in it. But it's really, really hard. It's got nice texturing, nice contour to it. Good size grip. I got that blood on me there from whacking my knuckle on a tree, chopping through it with the Bravo. This can't handle chopping, but I chopped down some stuff so I'm going to make a spoon for you guys, show you how I make a spoon. I chopped this out with the Bravo off an elm tree. So in part 2 I'm going to use this to make a spoon, show you guys how I do it using this thing. I whacked my knuckle a little bit, big deal. So anyways, I really like the handle on this thing. It's really comfortable, it gives you a real nice grip. One little beef with it, they got the lanyard hole too far up. And all their other knives, and you look at them lined up on someone's picture or something, the lanyard hole is way down near the butt where it should be. They put that one right where your fingers are, but in use you really don't even notice that. When you got the lanyard on and using it, you really don't even, it doesn't really matter. But it should be a little further back, I think. But since it doesn't, in use, I didn't even have a complaint with it, practically speaking. It's not a big deal. I just don't know why they got it that far this way. It's got a little hammer thing, so you could either hammer it this way, batoning it into something to help split and stuff, or you could use it this way to hammer something in, or nail something in, or break something open, or whatever you had to do that way. It's not quite as thick. I got a bunch of knives here because we're going to do a little comparison quick, but it's not nearly as thick actually as the Bravo 1. You can see the differences. It's quite a bit smaller in every way. Blade's about a ½ inch smaller, maybe a little more than a ½ inch. It's just not as beefy. So I got it more as a hunting knife. Compared to the RC3, it's a little more comparable. Just about the size of the RC3. A little longer cutting edge. That's pretty much what I got it for, is to replace my RC3. A little bit beefier knife and a stainless knife. Much thicker, obviously, than the RC3. Obviously, it's not really going to compare well with the Mora clipper, but I wanted to bring the clipper out to practice. I've had this for years. I wanted to show you the comparison when I carve the wood. Now, when I do this, which I'm going to do right now, I'm stealing this directly, and I give full credit to, I don't even know how to pronounce his YouTube name, so right now, that's his name there in the captions under my finger. Because I don't want to mispronounce it, but he does a review of this knife, a good review of the Fallkniven U2. I mean the Fallkniven F1, and he does what I'm about to do with the Rat Cutlery RC3 and the Rat Cutlery Azula, comparing how they carve away wood. You know, I'm going to just do it a little more, and I'm also going to throw in my Bravo, and you know, comparing through 5 different bushcraft knives that are roughly the same length blade to see the comparison. I'm going to carve a little bit more with the other two because I wanted to see him do more, and he didn't, so I wanted to do it myself, and I'm going to learn something here with you. Before I get to that, I got the version, you can get it with a Kydex sheath. I got the leather sheath because I like leather. I don't like the look of their Kydex one. It looks very, very cheap, you know. But and looks really don't usually matter to me, but I think the thing's ugly as hell. And this is nice looking. You might notice something missing on it. I owned this thing probably 2 minutes, and I took the knife and cut that flap right off because I don't need a strap that comes over and buckles up. I wanted the friction slide in like that. This is nice and tight. Works great. It looks better to me. I like it. If it rains, I'm going to be pulling my raincoat over the thing anyway. I'm not going to get my leather wet intentionally, so I'm going to protect it from rain anyway, whether it had the flap or not, so I don't need that. And I just cut it off. Save weight, save bulk, make the knife easier to get out, put away, you know. I like this. It's a decent leather sheath. Goes in and out well, stays in well. I like it. Thick, well made. So, let's do a little bit of carving away here, and part 2. Actually, I'm running out of time here, so why don't we cut this, and part 2 I'm going to do some comparison with all of these knives cutting away at this, and then I'll do a part 3 where I make a spoon for you, probably a 3 and 4 to make a spoon, show you how I do it. And I don't make spoons the way other people do. I think they're doing it the hard way. I have a couple tricks that help you do it easier with less hassle, and all you need is a knife. You don't need one of them bent bowl scraping type knives where you bend the knife so you can scrape the bowl out. Just use a regular knife. It ain't as easy, but if you're out in the woods and you need to make a spoon, chances are you're not going to have a bowl scraping knife or a knife that you want to bend in half to make a spoon. It's if you're going to take something like that with you, why not just take a spoon? So it doesn't make sense to me to use one of them to make a wooden spoon, unless you're a crafts person making elegant wooden spoons. But for bushcraft purposes, just use a knife. Practice with just a knife. So let's go to part 2, and I'm going to use all of these on this to see how they do. Alright? Thank you.